Let's Chat.
Glad to have you here with us on Let's Chat on this beautiful sunshine-filled Thursday morning. And as we get into the afternoon, this nice stretch is going to continue with highs near 80. We'll tell you more about that coming up today on News 12 at noon. I mentioned a moment ago about getting ready for the ACT tests. And if you've ever taken one of these, as most of us have, you know it can be kind of a mind-racking experience. Judah Renshaw is here with the name of your company is Tactical Tutoring. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
Interesting sort of name. How did you come up with that for helping kids get ready for the ACTs?
Well, tactical it means strategically planned for a specific end.
Correct.
Right? And so what I did was I strategized that if a student was to take a large volume of practice tests over a long period of time, then their score would have no choice but to increase,
sure.
Right? So I tested out different methods, and I settled on a 12-week program where students take 2 practice tests a week in a very strategic manner, and that is tactical tutoring.
Yeah, it sounds like a plan to me. How do you measure, what's your yardstick, if you will, about a student's success as they go through this series of testing?
So every student will get a tracking template. Actually, if you sign up for the giveaway, you'll get this tracking template for free. And the tracking template is where the students will put in their scores as they are taking the practice tests and the problems that they're missing, so that the tutors can look back over that, gather the data, figure out what content areas we need to cover, and focus on that.
A lot of students, when they are in the regular day-to-day classroom, regardless of age, they do fine. You put a piece of paper in front of them for a test, and they get test fever.
Yes.
What do you do to help them overcome that?
Well, the student is going to be taking the test every weekend for 12 weeks before the test. So on test day, that familiarity, right, breeds confidence.
Sure.
Right? So then when they're taking the test, it's like, oh, this is a habit. I've done this every week for 12 weeks in a row, so it's not a deal.
Out of the students you've worked with, what is the biggest obstacle? Which area, which discipline, if you will, do they seem to have the most difficulty with?
Well, most students struggle with math, but I find the hardest, so math is easy to rectify, right? I can show you how to do the math. The hardest thing is vocab. If you come in without the vocab necessary to read and understand these questions, right, I can give you a list of the most missed vocab words and we can try to study them, but you really need to be reading above your grade level since grade school,
sure,
to build that vocabulary to be able to do well.
I would have thought math would have been a much more mentally anguishing subject for the students.
But math is,
but it's not.
It's absolute. Right?
Right.
So English and reading, the questions are sometimes a little up to interpretation, right? Whereas math, you know if you got the answer correct, right? So math is actually one of the areas where my students see the most score gains.
What made you decide to get into this?
Well, I scored a 33 on in high school on the ACT.
And you were cussing yourself because you didn't hit a perfect 36.
You're exactly correct. And so now I'm actually in the next few months I'm going to be taking my own program because I offer this 5-point increase guarantee, right? So
right.
I figure I'm going to take my own program. If I don't get a perfect 36, well, I can't offer that anymore. Right?
How has this program been accepted by your students? I know as an educator, you got to get a big thrill when you see one of your students doing very well.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
What has been the biggest thrill for you in seeing this?
Well, I love seeing the light bulbs go off, right? So when I'm working with a student and we're going over this one content area where they've struggled in just, let's say, trig, right? They haven't been able to get any of the triangle questions correct. And then on the next test, they got all of them right. Right? That is just, it
Sure.
makes my heart jump.
What feedback have you heard from their parents?
That I need to be more, I need to be providing more feedback for them after each session besides just the tracking template. So I'm working on integrating a platform that will allow me to type a session report and it'll
Right.
send it directly to the parents.
All right, when do students need to really start prepping for the ACTs?
Well, like I said before, I think second grade, and that is just for that vocab, right? Because it's so hard to build vocab later on. But then more traditionally, I would say sophomore year, you should start taking some practice tests, getting an idea of how the questions are asked, right? And then junior year, you should really buckle down and try to get a high score. And then that summer before senior year is the sweet spot, because you're not doing a whole lot of other things. You don't have your AP classes and all of that. So you've got that time. And then that leaves you senior year to play makeup or shoot for that 35, 36.
Do you do exclusively ACT prep? Do you tutor in other areas?
I try to do mostly ACT prep, but I consider each student on a case-by-case basis. I do some general academic tutoring as well.
What is your specialty when it comes to the academic tutoring?
Math. I like math.
You like math?
Yes. But I like teaching kids to read as well.
Sure. Are you a solo act? Do you have other instructors that work with you? Or?
I have one other in-person instructor and then a couple of others online. All of my ACT tutors have scored at least a 33 on the ACT.
Wow.
And are trained in the tactical tutoring method, so you can expect the same level of expertise no matter what tutor you
Have you seen any sort of significant variation as far as the in-person or the online instruction?
So, no, actually. I find that the students nowadays are used to working online, and I don't see any difference between the score gains made in person or online.
Wow. Best of luck. Tell us how we can get in touch with you for more information.
423-856-1031 or tacticaltutoring.com.
Tacticaltutoring.com.
Yes.
Judah, it's a pleasure meeting you. Hope you'll come back and join us in the future, and good luck. And what you're doing for these kids, it is invaluable, and they will remember people like you for the rest of their lives.
Thank you.
Well done. Stick around. More of Let's Chat right after this.